Yeah, actually, we're in the middle of we're preparing for what's called a weather bomb, which is where two weather events come together and they
make a baby,
accelerate at such a rate that they call it a bomb or a bomb cyclone.
Wow.
And it's due tomorrow here. And the weather's just building up to it. So it could be, because my internet depends on sight, we've got heavy cloud coming in, and it's possible that I will drop out from time to time. So sorry for that.
No worries. No worries. No worries. So yeah, I mean, we have a video to show you. It's part of the request for the whole summer fundraiser with Car for Ukraine. And it turns out I could have shown you this before, but I wasn't even really sure that it existed. When it was posted in our private chat about the fundraiser, I thought it was just a picture. I didn't actually realize. I must have checked on my phone that day and I didn't have my glasses on. But we have it now. So because it's all about the fundraiser, Claire, give them a little heads up what we're going to see, and then I'll play it for everybody.
Okay, so the video is the request video from the HUR detachment, HUR group. HUR, as you know, is also GUR, depending on whether you say it with a G or an H. You say it for me, Slavie, because you'll say it better.
HUR.
HUR, okay. And they're the special forces intelligence units that work with tell us his name, Slavie, the leader of the HUR group that everybody knows.
Budanov?
The enigmatic, sorry?
Kirilla Budanov.
Yes, Budanov. Okay. Now we've got the Ukrainian words sorted out. Anyway, we're raising funds for trucks for them. They came to Car for Ukraine, which I find incredibly flattering that they came to us for trucks, given they're such an important unit. And they've asked for 5 vehicles, and that's a big thing, but it's because they formed a brand new detachment, which is their 6th detachment. And this group was started from scratch. They had no vehicles, no nothing really. And so anyway, Ivan decided to back them up and get this detachment going. And they've sent a request video, and it one of our earliest groups to join this fundraiser was, of course, the Shills, who's always there for us. But the Shills has been malingering a little because Dick's been a little off colour, but we want to reboost the Shills fundraiser if we can with this community.
Yes.
And this is the request video from the HUR. It mentions the Shills, and this is the 6th detachment, which need 5 vehicles, which is a big ask. But just to give you a little background on how this is going, this campaign's going unbelievably well, considering it's only halfway through. So this campaign is actually likely to go over target. And this would be our first Car for Ukraine campaign that might go over target. And I think it's very likely that it will. But so that doesn't mean we all slow down. That means we go as hard as we can to get more vehicles for the guys fighting at the front, because it's tough. It's at the moment in the summer offensive of the Russian forces. They're fighting like crazy, and there's a lot of death and destruction going on. Anyway, this is their request video. Listen to it and enjoy the Shills mention, and play it all the way to the end, Dick, because there's a little thing that happens at the end, which you'll see.
Will do. Okay, here we go, everybody. Let me get this up, but I also want to zoom it in so you get to see it proper. Here we go. Oh, damn. Let me try that again with audio for you, dolt.
We are the members of 6th Special Operations Detachment of Defense Intelligence of Ukraine, currently conducting special operations at land and sea. We require vans and pickup trucks to conduct logistics and evacuate casualties. We are asking communities of YouTube channels, the Silicon Curtain and the Shills, and other YouTubers and the people with their medias to help us with the fundraiser, as well as the organization Car for Ukraine to deliver it. Блять, нет, треба заново.
That's funny. Ah, shit, I messed that up.
I thought that was perfect for you. You know, people have been playing that video for over a month now, and nobody's mentioned that little ending. So obviously nobody watches it right through to the end. But
Yeah.
the thing, the backstory there is these guys are fighting like crazy, and they're unbelievably brave and courageous and skilled, and yet the very thought of making a video is so intimidating to them. And they actually find this really stressful doing these request videos. And so you got to, you know, they often send in various edits of their, you know, tries of getting it right and which one do you think's okay, and they really do stress out about it. So
Yeah.
you know, God bless them, they're fabulous people.
Yeah, I like it very much. You can tell, unlike the top members of the Trump administration, that these people aren't skilled in being on camera and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I thought you could edit that and make a little meme out of it.
Well, you know what I'm also going to do now that I have it in my possession? I'm going to run it through a couple of my audio engineer tricks and bring that audio up proper, so it's way more powerful. Going forward, Claire, when you get these things, send them to me first so I can doctor the audio quick and then put it out to everybody.
Well, usually Ivan is in charge of all of that. Ivan gets them, the office gets them. I'm the last. I get them when we all get them.
Tell Ivan to send them to me quick, and right. I'll do a thing in like open source software, so then I can give him a preset that he can use to make sure the audio is way more listenable and has punch, instead of, because they're always really quiet because the phone's 15 feet away from them, and
yeah.
It really. Yeah, yes. I can punch it up. I know exactly what to do. And yeah.
All right. Well, that's very kind. That's very helpful. Anyway, let's try and get them some vehicles.
Yes.
I think the Shills is sadly on $300 in this campaign, which is way down low.
We had a couple people get a hold of me and say, oh, you know, we used the main link and we didn't put it through like yours specific. I think every so often you get people that just get excited when we're having a pub chat and they're a little drunk.
Right. Yeah. Well, on that score, Georgy Ivanovs, who's doing Ukraine Matters, was doing a big group of 4 trucks, and they were working for the 93rd, which is the Alcatraz Battalion.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'll tell you about them in a minute. They're very interesting. Anyway, his moderators, or whoever puts the link on the show, managed to put the main website link on the show and not the Ukraine Matters. And they came, you know, they sent this after a few days of this, they sent this very upset message to Ivan, you know, what's happening to all the money? People say they're donating, it's not coming through, blah, blah, blah. And it was coming through. It was all coming through, but it was coming through not on their link.
Exactly.
And Ivan and I were saying, hey, isn't this amazing? All these people are donating, but not on a link. They all just are following the website. Isn't Car for Ukraine going well with its own following? So it happens. People use all sorts of links to make their contribution.
I've done it myself on more than one occasion when I'm putting like a PayPal through at the end of a show or something. I've done it to us, like, you know, in wrong spot. But I mean, in the end, it doesn't freaking matter. The money's there, you know, I mean.
Oh, yeah, it does, because, you know, actually we're going to do a big clean out of all the people who actually say they're going to do a campaign and then don't, or don't do any activity, you know, because Ivan puts a lot of time into making these links and making it good and getting the request vehicles and things. So we've got about 4 people sitting on the bottom of the pile who they'd all love to be doing something, but they're actually just kind of not.
Yeah.
And so we're just going to have to let some go, I think.
Yeah.
you know,
Wow.
and heads up Rudy, because you're on the list. Get busy, Rudy. Rudy keeps saying he's going to do something, but nothing happens with Rudy too. So
Rudy's life is one step too busy for himself, and unless he does the odd video that's about the fundraiser instead of just having the link in the description and stuff, right? I'm no criticism here. Don't get me wrong, because I mean, us ourselves, we have a great go at fundraising at times, and then it's dead for a few weeks. And sometimes it's, you have a bad week and you're not feeling good, but you try to get the show out and it just doesn't have the same energy. And, right.
No, I fully get it. It's really, I mean, the people who do these channels, like yourself, work incredibly hard to get the content and to set up the show, and I also get that on the bigger scheme of things, the fundraisers, the last thing that you're going to be actually worried about, because trying to get good information out. I mean, I know the fundraiser is important, and they're obviously incredibly important to me, but the getting the information out, the true information in this situation that we're in of false information is really, really important. And I understand how much effort goes into that. I mean, the guys that are doing the daily news shows, like Silicon Curtain does an interview just about every day, and ATP does something like 3 videos a day to try and get the information out there, and then there's the bigger, like the Ukraine Matters, who do 3 a week, and it's just unbelievable level of work. And just trying to stay up with the news at the moment does your head in. It's really distressing and does your head right in. Hi, Dunk.
Hello. How's it going?
Yeah, since you're all talking about, money fundraising and all that kind of stuff, I'd like to talk about my new campaign. It's for the budget conscious people out there who don't quite have enough cash to splurge around. It's roller skates for Ukraine. Yes, indeedy. Well, maybe rollerblades too, whatever it takes. Just wheels on the ground.
Better than donkeys,
Well, they can't. They're rubbish with roller skates. Have you seen them?
Yeah. Donkeys don't seem to be able to roller skate well. I don't really know what the problem is there.
Chop their legs off and just put wheels on. That's what they say. Hello, everybody. Hello.
The Ukraine doesn't need the roller skates, isn't it? Russia.
Well, they could use 2 pair of roller skates and put them underneath some pieces of wood to drag out those hamburger piles they call dead bodies.
Well, I was thinking maybe we just install a load of windows along the border of Ukraine and Russia, and just have all the Russians just accidentally fall out of them,
I'm surprised Russian military personnel aren't required to wear roller skates and rollerblades at work, so they can be shoved to a window quicker when they're no longer needed.
You've got to check to see if they've got a parachute on first. Oh, dear.
John, are you feeling sick? No. Yes, you are.
Yeah. Can you fly? No. Great.
Yeah, perfect. Have I got an exit for you? So, news-wise, Slavie, where do you want to go and start? I thought the Su-34s getting munched was a pretty good thing to start with. The 4 planes that got wrecked.
Hey.
Yeah, that's a great start. I was going to go with the NATO summit, but that's not really good news.
Yeah.
But maybe Commander Macmillan can present that.
Yeah, like
I'll give him the shit stuff.
Yeah. The Su-34, for the uninitiated, Commander, how important is that aircraft to the Russian forces?
It's one of the more modern aircraft they have.
It's the most pointy.
Pardon?
It's the most pointy.
So I'm just doing this show.
That's true.
The issue is that a lot of the more modern Russian aircraft are only produced in small batches, like 50, 75, and then they stop production and start the new one. So it's very much kind of a Potemkin village thing for them of like, look at this great new thing we have. Yeah, but we don't have many of them. But that doesn't matter. We have this new thing. So, yeah, it's a kind of a deep strike ground attack sort of aircraft. So that's it. Eliminating
But it was. Yeah.
very definitely helpful.
And does anybody have any idea on numbers of operational ones they have? Like, I didn't see anything in the report I saw.
If they have one, it's probably classified.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it was a good hit for sure. Yeah, and there was also technical operational facilities that suffered some damage as well. So, which I like.
According to Wikipedia, they produced a grand total of 163 Su-34s.
Okay. And yeah, I know there's got to be at least a couple more that have been taken out, So yeah, I don't have the stats. I know there's some pages for that. I wonder if we shouldn't get those, ready to show people and people like that kind of thing. I could look them up.
So Sukhoi is typically best known for its bomber and ground attack aircraft. They're not fighters per se. MiG does most of the fighters. So when you hear about an Su aircraft being taken out, that probably has more impact on the troops at the front line than if you hear a MiG being taken out. Now, that doesn't mean that MiGs can't drop bombs and Sukhoi aircraft can't do fighter duties. They can, but their primary design roles tend to be in those two areas.
Right. I'm just looking through a list here. I found a list of all kinds of losses, but it doesn't break down aircraft other than to say planes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I got to say the number on planes right now is 420. So that's a thing.
Yeah. So it seems these planes were something like 1,000 kilometers away. Does anybody know how they did this, what they used? Or have they not announced it yet? I haven't seen how they
roller skates.
Yeah, Volgorod. Yeah, 900 kilometers, 550 miles from the Ukrainian border.
Yeah, that's
a big distance, isn't it?
That's kind of where it's Stalingrad, basically. So it's to the east of Rostov, to the east of the front line in that area.
Yeah.
Right. So they could have sent off, I think is it 5 planes they blew up? So they could have sent off five long distance drones and just done 1 plane each.
They could do that. They also might have a drone that is using expendable munitions, so it flies over and drops a little bomblet on each plane as it flies over.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cute.
Yeah.
Omelets. I love omelets myself for breakfast.
Just don't pick it up and play with it when you find one in your yard.
Yeah. Bomblets, old cheddar, and toast points. Try it.
Yeah.
So we've got some shout outs I can run through here. Jean-Marc Ladacour had come in with a super chat. Let me get some applause up there. Anybody see the Beast from Japan boxer fight? Quick hands and many KOs. Myself, not. I did see your message there. I haven't spoke to Brandon. A personal thing there. But I will be looking this person up because it seems like somebody to check out. So good shout, John. Thank you. Niles Knudsen in the chat re-upped his membership and then gifted out 10 memberships. So huge thanks there, Niles. Love the gifted memberships. And then Jean-Marc Ladacour's in again. The unit didn't get a chance to get free equipment left behind by surrendering or running Russians. That's probably when we were talking about the 2 units earlier. I'm not sure which one it would be. Jean will probably clarify in the chat for us here as we go. Petro Olsen came in with a super chat, 269 Swedish kroners, no less, with love to Ukraine. and with love it shall be sent. We've got YouTube's doing this thing now where it's giving me everybody's ats instead of actual names. So I'm gonna have to get used to this. Al Yorkie in the chat. 50-pound super chat, no less. So here we got to hit 2 for this one.
Yeah, good on you.
Yeah, Rastum Dupe. Slavie, can you read that one?
Wait, where am I reading?
Here, I can copy this to the green room quick for you. Oh shit. Okay. There we go. We'll come back to you. Sorry, because I don't want to get it wrong, and I know it's something that I'm just going to butcher here.
That's not Ukrainian. I don't know, but
Oh yeah, I guess it isn't. Why would I even think that?
6 or 5. That's not Ukrainian. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it isn't. Why did I even think that? I didn't size.
Instead, razem do perimogi, which is to victory. So together.
Okay. So we got it. So here, more applause. And then Jean-Marc Ladecur's in again with a $10 super chat. Rochelle, Canada now opening a factory in Ukraine.
Gosh.
Okay. That I got to look that up. Awesome. I didn't hear that at all.
Who was it?
Rochelle. Yeah.
I know that the Spotify elk guy, he just invested in AI drones for Ukraine. That's actually big news this week.
Cool.
I also have a super chat from They Exist saying, I'm not even half the man Pete Fauché was, but I'm brave enough. I'll say it on both channels in memory of Pete. Thank you so much. For sure. He was a great, great man. And I'll miss him.
Very much. Well said. Well said.
So this is the anniversary of his death, isn't it, this week?
Yeah. And we have They Exist on our channel as well with the exact same super chat. So we got applause, and we'll come in with the big horn as well, because that's a double shot. Very, very cool. We also have a $10 direct donation in from UTV and Ham, but it's not telling me the message or anything. I'm only just getting the last part of the notification. I don't know why. So I'm going to reset the service and see if I can figure it out here. And we've got SSW Custom Sewing in as well with a direct donation in for $333. And it's boom, support Ukraine and small Ukraine channels. Oh, yes. Love it. Here, come on. There we go. Finally got it to work. Thank you, SSW Custom Sewing, for sure. Now, I have a feeling that I've missed something because it just seems like the service isn't caught up. So I'm going to log directly into PayPal and see what I find as well. And I'll get back to you here. I don't know. I think things are screwing up.
We can go to most infuriating news of the week, which I'm actually steaming from this. And it's pro-Palestinian activists. They destroyed 1.1 million in Ukrainian military aid because they thought it was for Israel, but it was for Ukraine. And it was 100+ activists. They broke into OIP defense facility. This was in Belgium. They thought they were stopping Israeli arms, but the gear was headed for Ukraine, and equipment damage was Leopard 1 tanks, vehicles, and systems. Yeah. And it delayed the whole thing got delayed by 1 month. So for 1 month.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm seeing stories about them. It's like there was somebody in the UK news reporter infiltrated one of their Zoom calls, and they were planning sort of different attacks on British airfields and stuff like that. Yeah, they seem to be becoming quite a problem. These are Palestinian.
I'm exactly. I'm not a fan of the pro-Palestinian people at all. They think that they're standing for peace, but really they're standing in Putin's shadow and being useful morons.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad rebels.
But
the
we
worst
don't know
kind.
that these people are. It's potential that these people are being supported by Russian information. These activists in Europe that claim to be activists for Palestine.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, the whole Palestine thing's such a mess, and I do not understand why the population is not pressuring their military to just give over these hostages. It makes no sense. Hamas is, I can't be that intimidating anymore for the population that's starving, and you know, they're either all in it or they're all, you know, why starve when you've still got some hostages that you could hand over to get food?
Yeah.
It's making no sense, that whole scenario. And I don't know whether it's because we're getting crappy information about really what's going on. I mean, you hear on the one hand, they're desperate, and on the other hand, they're not desperate because they've still got some cards to play, as Trump would say.
Yeah.
Also, TikTok has a big hand in this as well by pushing content like crazy that goes against Israel. So they definitely fueled it on TikTok, promoted it.
Right. Yeah, it's very strange. Do you have any insight into that, Commander, of why the population are not pressuring Hamas more?
I think a lot of it is that Hamas is, as we know, kind of run wholly out of Iran. And the Iranians and the Russians have really close relationship right now. So I suspect what's really happening is that you're getting a lot of Hamas type activity being directed from the Kremlin. And they control the government and most of the social aid organizations within Gaza. So people aren't likely, you know, among the Palestinian population there, they're not likely to do anything to get those guys mad at them, because at the least they cut off your subsistence supplies, and at worst they make you disappear.
Yeah, right. So they really are facing intimidation from Hamas side as well as genocide from the Israeli side.
Exactly.
Gosh. No, it's ugly. And certainly there seems no doubt that Israel's behaving genocidally. I can't see it any other way, to tell the truth. So, you know, whether I just see that this population are just stuffed in, you know, in a really bad spot and deserve some sympathy, but at the same time, they've got to pressure their own, you know, bring about their own revolution from inside, it seems, as well as a lot of other countries.
That's a really dangerous mindset to get into, because you know, it's kind of collective guilt. It's because somebody in your town happened to be associated with somebody who is a guerrilla or a partisan, we're going to massacre the whole town. What you're doing with that mindset is basically forcing all the uncommitted people to commit to them, to the, you know, partisans or whatever, because they have no other option. They can't overthrow the partisans because they're the ones that are there night and day, constantly dealing with you in your day-to-day routine of life. So you can't afford to piss them off. So it's dangerous to say that people need to start rising up and overthrowing their own oppressive governments. That really doesn't happen. It just, the cases where that occurs are very few.
Yeah,
Okay, well, that's good advice.
Sorry?
It's good advice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's usually a guillotine thing, so I'm not sure that's...
Yeah, exactly.
So then the outcome for Palestine, I don't really want to divert into Palestine, but the outcome for Palestine is total annihilation, it seems. what's going on. That's the direction it's going in, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately.
They definitely, by the looks of things, need some serious outside intervention.
Yeah. The other problem is it's not to say the Palestinians really doesn't address the true issue, which is that there are different groups within Palestine or the Palestinian refugees. So you've got the group in Gaza, you've got the group that's up in Lebanon, you've got a group that's sheltering in Jordan, and you've got the West Bank Palestinians. All of these different groups have different viewpoints of what's going on, different groups that are in charge of them. So you've got Hamas obviously leading the band in Gaza. You've got Hezbollah up in Lebanon, and there's different organizations for the West Bank ones. I think Fatah is the big one there. I'm not even sure who's in charge of the Jordanian ones, because the Jordanians are very careful about keeping them suppressed after the Black September uprisings they had way back in the 60s. So if you wanted to come up with a solution for them, you need to actually do it in like 4 or more separate groups to figure out which one you're going to be dealing with at any given time. There's no unifying voice. It's kind of the similar situation with Kurds.
Yeah.
There are 3 very different factions within the Kurdish, nationalist movements, and to be perfectly honest, they hate each other more than they hate the people that are occupying their land.
Yeah. It's almost like a Monty Python skit. The People's Front of Judea? No, the Romans. Oh, yeah, they're the enemy, right?
Yeah, Romans? Who are they? I didn't see any of them at church.
Yeah. Well, isn't that the case worldwide, though? The people who are closest to you, whether, within the closest to your religious group or your political position, are the ones you dislike the most. And there's my house guest coming in the door that's closest to me rather than the one that's a little bit further away. But they're making breakfast here. So I need to, because they're on the road today, straight after breakfast, I do need to think about how long I can spend here. Do you want me to, can I just cut into this flow of conversation, which I was actually finding really interesting, but just to tell you a little bit of the background about some of the other groups we're raising funds for, because they're quite an interesting group this time. Usually we do lots of little units that are little independent units, and this time they're quite significant, big, powerful units. So I thought that people might like to know a little bit more about them before I have to disappear and be hosty. Would that be all right?
Yeah.
Do you excuse me, Commander, if I cut your flow, because I was finding it really interesting. So I've mentioned the HUA group and the 6th detachment, which is a brand new detachment. We're not really sure where they're going to be active. The other group we're fundraising for, and we're getting 4 vehicles, is the SBU, or in Ukraine, I think they call it the SSU. This is the main internal security agency. So it's more a home-fronted, not outward-looking. So what would it be like? Be more like the FBI than the CIA kind of thing?
Yeah.
And so these are the guys that did the Spider's Web operation. So we love them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But these guys have a very checkered past, and they, at the beginning of the war, a lot of them were trained by the Russian spy units and special intelligence units, and they were of mixed. They turned to the Russian side, and I think they were very active against Ukraine in Mariupol. And so they had a really, really bad name, and everybody hated them, and they were full of double agents and horrible things going on there. Anyway, they got this new leader, Vasil Maliuk, and he's the one that looks like a boxer. He's got a broken nose, he's got no neck to speak of, he's all shoulders and chest, and looks as tough as Billy O, but he has absolutely cleaned this up. And nobody was really sure, from what I can read, that the organization was clean until the Spiders Web operation. And the very fact that they could carry out that operation in total secrecy for such a long time, like maybe 18 months or 2 years, and set that up and carry it out successfully, has kind of proven that they really are a clean organization, or as clean as can be expected, enough to carry out successful operations now. And so it's like they came to us for 4 vehicles at the very same time that the Spiders Web operation was going off. And so it's with great pride and joy that we're going to provide them with vehicles now. So
Claire,
good
be
for
honest,
them.
did we provide the trucks that went into Russia with the
But
drone
no, we didn't
from the spider web?
We didn't provide those trucks, not the trucks with the house packs on them, absolutely, and the drones
Okay, cool.
inside. Absolutely not. And the other one group that have been of huge interest are the 93rd, which is the Alcatraz Battalion. And the Alcatraz Battalion is so named because they're the group that have come out of the prison system in Ukraine. So this is Ukraine going around and saying to their prisoners, from my understanding, Ukraine doesn't accept murderers and rapists into the army, but they will accept minor criminals like theft and, you know, small fights and stuff like that. I'm not quite sure, but anyway, these are people who by and large have lost their way in life or never had a way in life and were, you know, living on the edge of society and ended up in prison. And they've been offered to go into the army, and they're put in the 93rd Alcatraz Battalion. And the medic for that battalion turns out to be a Canadian volunteer. And this is the only in Ukraine Army volunteer from overseas that I can find that is a woman. And it's a very unusual situation to have a battalion full of criminals with a medic that's a woman, and yet she's perfect. She's been there for quite a long time. She's quite young. She's about Slavie's age. She's incredibly active and committed to this group. And she raises funds for their drones and their armor and stuff like that. And she came to Car for Ukraine and Ukraine Matters and asked whether we could get 4 cars for her unit, because they've never had any cars. This is a unit that most of the units have family backup, and the family provide them with the first vehicles when they join up to try and keep their family safe. But this is a group that society's left behind, and they've had no backup from family or friends or anything like that. And so their situation's fairly dire in a lot of ways. And without the activity of this amazing girl, April, they'd be in a pretty hard spot. Anyway, she came and asked for 4 vehicles, and Georgie said he would fundraise it. And so he's been able to do that. But I just find it really interesting, this combination of a Canadian female volunteer who's joined the Ukrainian army mixed with all these ex-convicts. And the stories she tells are really heartwarming, because by joining the army, this is probably the first time these people have had a sense of belonging in a decent community for a real purpose that's better than, you know, just crime and people, you know, thug beats thug sort of thing. Although war's like that, it's actually given them a real sense of purpose, and a lot of them it's turning their life around. So it's really interesting to talk to this girl. I'd love to know more about her. And I was hoping to get her on the Shills, but her commander's really particular about where she can go and what she can do. And she never even went on Ukraine Matters, despite them doing the fundraising for her. Maybe they didn't ask her, but she's an incredibly courageous girl, and she's out there doing her medic work as well as she's their main fundraising front. She calls herself the publicity person. But the stories about this group, and they're fighting really hard, and but I just find them a fascinating group, and they've called themselves Alcatraz for obvious reasons. Connections.
Yeah.
The prison connection. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. So this campaign's been really important to us. It's got these two big intelligence units as well as some other interesting units. And so we hope that this community will support and help Dick get a truck for us.
I love the concept of like all these ex-convicts who are like, you know, in this unit, because, you know, what do they not have any car thieves in that unit?
Send them to Britain to get cars.
Yeah, no, but yeah, because all the, you know, I'm not being funny, but ex-convicts have got like a bunch of talent that is just perfect for warfare. It's exactly what you need. Is, you know, I'm not talking about like Dirty Dozen type thing, but it's, you know, it's not far off. Yeah. Send the ex-convict things. They got the tools and the equipment and the knowledge how to get things done.
I think they're under threat of total, you know, go back and live out your 20 years in jail if you fail the rules about this. I think the rules are really strict. There was this discussion, because Car for Ukraine always have to pass the vehicle over to a single person, that how are they going to choose the single person to receive the car? At the end, you know, at the end of the day, at the end of the war, whoever signs off on the car has the right to claim that car as his own. During the war, it's just a car for your unit. And but they have to have a single person sign off for it. And without the commander having the time to come and get the car, it had to be a soldier. And there was this discussion of how are they going to choose a soldier to go and get it, because there was concern that the soldier might go, oh, here's my car, I'm off then.
He's going to respray it, put it back on the market.
So I'm not sure how they resolved that. It was, you know, it's a total whole new world. I never expected to get involved in these sort of discussions and decisions, to tell the truth.
Yeah.
It's not the life that I'm living, that's for sure. But it's very interesting.
Yeah, you don't look like an ex-con. But you are Australian.
I've done some criminal actions, Dung. I've been a criminal in my time. Yeah, I've shoplifted with the best of them.
I'll say you're an Australian, so, you know.
She once cut out DNA. She once cut the tags off the mattress that say "Do not cut" under penalty of law. So.
Well, there you go. So I'm going to have to go and be a good host. I'm going to leave your show playing in case, because I always find it fascinating when the commander launches into some story about things that we didn't know, or gives us the moral center again. So more of that, please. Can you excuse me if I go? You can see my friends are waiting in the background. The kettle is on.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk to you after, or, you know, later, or whenever.
Okay, if you're still going, I'll drop in.
Yeah, cool. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Let me just do
it. We have a really good question, actually.
Sure.
Okay. This is from the Carpathian. Now that the Trump has his 5% from NATO, what do the panel think the chances of Patriots being sold to Ukraine? It's a great question.
Trying to predict what goes on in that little orange mind is a fool's errand. You know, he wakes up in the morning and then gets bacon instead of ham with his eggs, and I hate Ukraine, I'm going to destroy them. The next morning he wakes up and he gets Danish, and I love Ukraine, let's sell them everything they want. Yeah, there's no predicting what the guys.
You know what, Commander? They did a brain scan of Trump, and all that was inside was like a big ball machine. Just numbers tumbling.
Yeah. A remote control to a 1978 RCA TV that has no batteries in it.
Yeah.
So I want to, first we got a couple of shout outs, but first, Buck-T1P in the live chat there, slow your roll a tad. You accuse us of parroting neo-Nazi BS one more time, and That's that. I've just absolutely had it with seeing your name in the live chat right now. So the mods, if he does it again, kick his punk ass out. Seriously, like, okay, you've picked a side and you're very passionate about it, but chill it down a notch. All right. You're never going to get somebody on your side behaving that way. You got to roll it down a notch. A couple of shout outs here. Shootouts. You can see where my mind was going. Hey, for a call out by me, that was a pretty tame one, right? So, so we got Niles Knudsen in the chat again, gifting out memberships. Love it, Niles. You are like the gift from heaven above when it comes to memberships. Absolutely love it. And then we got, they exist in with a $10 super chat here as well. Think about this, she says, I'm not sure. Corruption in Ukraine is mostly a result of 1932 Holodomor and Russian infiltration. Success of Spiderweb shows Ukrainians overall are tight. Well, that's a good assessment, a good way to look at it. I couldn't disagree, especially the second half. But the idea of the corruption thing that keeps coming up, when you're talking about that as it pertains to Ukraine, it just like you say, it's really rooted in the old guard and whatnot. And when those things take root and get into a system, it's very hard to fully get rid of them. But all in, from what I understand, Commander, you probably agree as well, the level that Ukraine's been able to get to at this point of cleaning it out and cleaning it up is remarkable, actually.
Especially during wartime. It's
I was about to say exactly that. Doing it in peacetime is hard enough. Doing it while you're in the middle of a war.
Yeah.
That's remarkable.
Yeah, so good shout there. Very good shout. Niles comes in again with the memberships. Here, Mario, go for a bounce. All right, and huge thanks. Oh, no, it's not Niles. I'm so sorry. It's this whole YouTube thing with the last, 24 hours with the names in the live chats. What's going on? Why am I seeing these @ handles, right? But N Hill, is that... I know is that Nikki Hill? N Hill? I know the avatar with the cat and the Ukraine in the background. But it's 5 gifted memberships, so pardon my screw up. Here, more applause. Cover my screw up. And Jean-Marc Laddercar comes in also with a super chat. Keep donating from 300 to 500 now. Now, that's a good shout because we've got some other shout outs to do here. Let me bring it up over here. And we've got some donations in on the Car for Ukraine stream or on the page as well. So there's Jean-Marc Laddercar with the same one that was the Rochelle, Canada. And if anybody missed it, because I don't think we even brought it up, but they're the Canadians doing the armored cars. Right, I think they're out of like Montreal in Quebec, They were on the news around here recently because they're very much, it sounds like they're barely making real profit off them to get them in Ukraine's hands. They're really stepping up. I really like it. Today as well, we had Egon Kelt put in 10 euros there, you can see. And then we have Slavie, Ukraine from Kaltenberg, and that's $118 American into the pot. That's a big shout. Well done, Kaltenberg. Love it. And then as you can see as well, there's an anonymous one for 50 euro there. So thanks, people. Here, you know what? While I'm on this screen, let me I'll show it to you in a second, but I'm just reloading it because usually you reload after shoutouts and go, oh shit, I could have done that one. So let me just see. Yeah. See, we got Nikki Hill in as well with a US $24 donation. You see? I knew to check. I could tell. Get my hearts up in the air. Come on, Apple. There we go. All right. Thanks, everybody. Huge support coming in. Love to see it. Love to see it. Everything we can do to help these awesome fundraisers is so, so worth it. Buck got timed out. He gets the celebratory banana right in the rectum. So where do we go next here? There was talk of Ukraine getting their hands on a new type of Russian drone that had come out.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
I'm trying to see if I have this loaded. Oh, I can't stand these pop-ups from these sites. Who out there is absolutely sick and tired of the website constantly asking you your cookie preferences? Because you know what they're doing, right? They're trying to get you so frustrated that you just go fine and accept them all to make it stop.
Yeah.
Like I told you once, I'm sorry, but fuck off. So here, let me see if I can find this because these websites are just going incredibly crazy on me here.
Well, in the meantime, there's a cultural update. Today, June 27th, it's Ukraine's Constitution Day. So in 1996, Ukraine adopted its first modern democratic constitution, formally codifying its independence from Soviet Union. So huge, huge day today. This was actually first post-Soviet constitution in Europe, and Ukraine was the first former USSR state in Europe to adopt a democratic constitution after independence. But if you look back in history when Cossacks were around, Ukraine was the first ever to create the constitution before France, before obviously United States. So yeah, that's a big day.
Pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Right? You know, especially because you guys are still living by yours. And, well, not everybody is.
Yeah. No comment there, but...
Yeah, I had constipation once.
Hey, Brandon's in the chat. How's it going, Brandon? It's the same link if you want to jump in and join us if you're free.
It just shows Ukraine and was always the land of free people, because this constitution was written by Cossacks, by Philip Orlik, and who stood by, was for the people, by the people kind of thing, which should be in United States. But yeah, it was always, Ukraine was always very, very democratic.
Yeah.
So... And so Russia steps in, of course, because
bastards.
Their constitution is we have the head of state, the king, whatever, and he's the most important guy. So the people, the Russian people, are prisoners to the crown or whatever.
Well, there's an unspoken rule: you can't lead Russia if you can't ride the bear.
Well, I mean, they have the head of state, and your head on a spike if you don't agree. There you go. How about
that?
Exactly.
Yeah, I tried to get Brandon to join us quick, and he's like, "Come on, dude, it's like really late where I am." I was like, "I know," but we'll have him back on soon. You know, everybody likes to have Brandon around. So NATO then, Slavie, do you want to start us into?
Absolutely. Sorry, I got distracted a little bit. So this past week, the NATO summit was in The Hague, and it focused on Trump's demands and not Ukraine's. Zelensky came in a suit, the first time we get to see him in a suit, gave a very, very strong speech, but unfortunately no aid followed. Instead, NATO pledged 5% GDP for defense by 2035.
Hooray!
Yeah.
Just around the corner.
Yeah. Rutte, the head of NATO, reportedly called Trump daddy. Not reportedly, sorry, he did. We all saw the video.
Yeah.
And the White House took that as a PR spin. And when Trump came back, returned to the United States, they put up like the whole merch thing and with a song "Daddy's Home." Yeah, it was. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, from PR standpoint, it's genius, but yeah.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna cue something up in the background just to make fun of that. Give me 1 second here.
But the whole
I'll just
narrative
throw
of
up.
this whole NATO is that NATO is completely avoiding, or isn't avoiding escalation at all. It's avoiding responsibility. So they're just gonna have to fight this war later, probably before 2035. To be honest, yeah, Commander Macmillan, what do you think?
Well, I think one of the key takeaways from that meeting is that Trump left early to go indulge in his little temper tantrum at Iran. And as further news keeps leaking out about what that all involved, it's becoming more apparent that it was entirely 100% a staged for TV show, to the extent of they notified the Iranians which targets were going to be hit in advance so they could evacuate them. And then apparently, I think it was last night, it came out, he said, and I'm sure his handlers are horrified that he did this, but he said that they coordinated the attack on the U.S. base, the Iranian attack, so that they would make sure that they struck at facilities that had been evacuated, and the Americans would have a good chance of shooting down all the inbounds. So this is wag the dog taken to whole new levels of BS.
Indeed.
Apparently, the uranium or nuclear was moved as well before the strike. So the United States didn't really get rid of the nuclear weapons.
No,
I thought it was fascinating that right after, the administration's coming out and chest thumping, we completely obliterated. No other nation in history could have done this. And then very quietly, DOD released its version of, battle damage assessment and said it had minimal impact, if any, on the Iranian nuclear program.
He was right, because no other military in the world could fuck up in such a massive manner.
Yeah, but no other military's chief commanders could fuck up. Let's give credit where credit's due.
Exactly what they were told to do.
Yes.
They did a great job at it. But, what was the purpose of it? It was simply so that the Orange God King could, hold this up and tell everybody what a great guy he is, and he's going to protect them from Iran, so that they'd rally behind him and lose track of the fact that he's tanking in the polls for all sorts of BS.
I think he used the American military to prepare some new bunkers for a golf course he's planning in Iran.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw that his polls are actually up after the Iran strike. No?
Yeah. It's flagpoles.
That's the way the simple American mind works.
Yeah. Okay, so I got a really quick joke here, but we have to go back to that daddy thing just because I have to do this because of that. So, ready? Here it comes.
I got it from my daddy. I got it.
Tell me if you know who that was. It's just one of those things you find in life now and then, but I think that was short enough we won't get in trouble. We'll see. Oh God.
That's what Trump said to Stormy Daniels.
Also,
I've
Trump,
trot out that joke now.
At the NATO summit, he spoke to Ukrainian journalists. It was very kind of emotional by the Ukrainian journalist, and she asked Trump if United States is willing to sell Patriots to Ukraine. And Trump responded, actually, he was more human than ever, than we've seen him, especially towards Ukraine. He responded, we'll see what we can do about that. So,
did he put any tariffs on it?
Yeah.
The stupid SOBs are going apeshit on Canada about tariffs now because we're going to do some taxing on some stuff that happens in the digital world. And Trump's all up in arms and upset about it. I'm a flippin' Canadian, and YouTube taxes me when they pay out for the channel. So you fucking lying sack of
Yeah. Following that, we actually have another question about this. It's from CZ255. I don't understand why Ukraine has to pay back or buy stuff, but Israel doesn't. Can anyone explain that? It's not fair.
It's not fair. To me, it's not right, but America can decide whatever the hell they want to do. Right?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's one of those things, you know. In a perfect world, sure, right?
So, since somebody mentioned Stormy Daniels, I have to tell the joke. So, right after the attacks, Trump announced this glorious ceasefire that he was imposing, which both Iran and Israel kind of went, what the hell?
No one told us.
Yeah. So I think we should all start referring to Trump's ceasefire as the Stormy Daniels ceasefire because it lasted all of 2 minutes.
That's funny. Oh, and it probably cost about the same.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, you literally have trouble making this crap up.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God. Let me just okay. I've had YouTube Studio crash on me 3 times during this stream so far. And YouTube's having that thing where they're showing the @ instead of the person's actual name that they put on the account and stuff. It's real. YouTube's having a problem today. To be honest, I'm surprised the stream is held together. You know, there is a couple of dropped frames due to ingestion, like YouTube not being able to take the stream fast enough. So there's a lot of clues that say YouTube's having issues.
On my channel, we started like 10 minutes after we started here. It
Really?
wasn't working. Yeah.
Wow. That's screwed up.
Yeah.
Oh, well, what are you going to do? It's not our fault, people. We try our best, you know. Let me just do a double check on fundraiser stuff here. Where should we go next? I bet we've got some questions in now. Should we switch over to question mode?
That was actually the last one. Not that many questions today.
Interesting.
But we do have news.
Yes. Well, we'll continue there then.
So Ukraine pins 50,000 Russian troops in Sumy. And this was on June 26. Ukraine halted a major Russian offensive in Sumy. Commander-in-Chief Syrskyi said, "We've pinned down 50,000 troops." And Ukraine also reclaimed ground, defying the forecasts, of course. And while NATO hesitates, Ukraine's breaking Russia's momentum alone.
Yeah, very much alone.
Yeah.
You know, there's been some decent pledges of help from countries that seem to follow through pretty quickly in the last little bit. But, you know, when you compare it to what you know that America could do at the snap of a finger, it still drives you nuts that Trump won't just jump back in the game and commit.
Yeah, whatever happened to this peace through strength, actual strength, not this what happened.
Well, it was this was supposed to end on day 1 of his presidency, right? Remember that? And then he structured some peace talks, and then he got pissy and he was like, "Oh, screw you guys, then figure it out yourself." Well, how are you ever going to do day 1 with that attitude? You sorry ass sack of. You know,
I think where we're heading now is that the West created this weapon that Russia didn't actually have to do anything. That Russia is this big great wolf and they have nukes, and oh my God, they're gonna nuke us if we help, if we do anything. So we're not. So this is the fault of kind of the West's imagination.
Yeah. So we certainly don't hear as much, news about equipment being sent over to Ukraine like we used to. Before January, there was, it was always like, Germany's sending this and this equipment, France is sending this, UK is sending that. I don't hear very much of it these days.
Not enough. That's for
Because we have
darn sure.
pro-Palestinian protest people destroying it.
Yeah, that's hearing that. I bent my whole thing. I mean, let's make sure we're, let's make sure we're fighting the right fights, people.
Press 1 to confirm that you're a tool of the Russian state.
Very, yeah. Oh man, yeah. Yeah. I was just looking at the live chat here while we're talking, everybody, and I can only imagine how hard it is for those in the live chats, because half of you don't even know who each other are right now, I bet. I'm trying to figure it out. Like some users, I'm like looking at what they say and I'm thinking, who could that be? Because you get to know the folks that are here, right? Why is it so difficult today, YouTube? What the hell? Sorry, I'll stop ranting about this. It's driving me crazy, though. They take a lot of 30% off of everything that comes through. 30% of super chats plus a tax on the payout. 30% of members plus a tax on the payout, and you get. This could keep going, right? And things seem to be getting worse, not better.
Your OCD and autism are starting to show, Dick.
It happens. I'm only on my second beer. I haven't washed that away yet, right? Okay, so yeah, where are we here now? Okay,
I wanted to bring up one thing I thought was interesting. The International Institute for Study of Warfare had a comment where they said that their analysis of various Russian refurbishment factories, in other words, where they take old vehicles out of long-term storage and refurbish them so they can be used. They said that they aren't doing much refurbishment of tanks anymore. Most of the production and refurbishment is focused on infantry fighting vehicles, so the ones that will carry infantry to the front and then support them in their offensive efforts. So that leads me to wonder if maybe they've decided that the tanks' days are done.
Or maybe the tanks that they've got in storage are just like so far gone they're knackered.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it may also be that what we're finding, and we don't have enough data to make a definitive statement on this. I'm just saying this might be what this is that because of all the FPV drones and the vulnerability of large vehicles to that sort of thing, tanks may not be as deadly or as effective as they used to be. One might argue the same for armored personnel carriers and infantry fighting vehicles, except if you hit those, the infantry in them can still get out, and they've made some progress to getting to where their launch line is. So those at least serve some purpose, even if they do get knocked out. So it's. Are
you talking about drones as a replacement to tanks, or are you talking about the fact that tanks are easily disposed of using drones?
The tanks are easily knocked out by FPV drones. Russian tanks, because of the way they're built, it's very uncommon that battle damage will not result in a catastrophic loss of the vehicle.
Yeah.
We've all seen plenty of photographs of, the popcorn tank shooting its turret in the air.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Yeah. But
especially when there's a helmeted melon going out the side as well, right?
Yeah,
exactly. No, especially when it comes down and lands with the gun barrel sticking in the ground.
Yeah. So the tanks aren't being repaired after they're damaged, although from what I've understood from the little I've been able to find, Ukrainians are not experiencing the same issue with Western supplied tanks, which are resilient enough that even if they are knocked out, it's usually feasible to tow them back to a repair yard and get them back in action within a week or two.
Yeah, well, that was going to be my next question. Is the modern tank more, defensible from FPVs? And it's just the fact that the Russians' tanks are just. I mean, I suppose even modern tanks are probably even looking at upgrades
What
to
you're looking for is
improve.
poop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's. I just thought it was an interesting tidbit that they would mention that in their assessment of what went on in the past week. I think we're still very much in the learning of lessons stage here. Nobody knows exactly what is going to come out of this war in terms of changing the designs of equipment, the doctrine that you use for your forces, equipping your forces. I think one thing for certain that everybody's going to have as a takeaway from this is that drones are now an absolutely essential part, and you need to push down drones to the lowest possible level you can because they're so essential to operations.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing about the after the spiderweb attack.
Yeah.
Even the American government said, oh shit, we got to rethink the defense of our aircraft on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, prior to this war, the U.S. version of what we were going to do with drones, it was a strategic level asset.
Yeah.
Predators flying with a Hellfire to take out a truckload of jihadis or whatever. And it wasn't something that was controlled down at the company or platoon or even squad level. It was, it was very high level, controlled by theater commander kind of asset.
Yeah, like Hollywood style, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think what they're learning from this war is that no, you need to have drones integrated at the absolute lowest possible level you can get them down to. And that in turn brings up something interesting, which is that if you're going to have that kind of a valuable and capable piece of equipment down at the level where, a corporal or a sergeant is making the decisions on what to do with and how to exploit that drone for their unit, you need to come up with a system of command and control that's very decentralized, which is the absolute antithesis of what the Russian/Soviet system was, where everything is controlled from the very highest levels.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing that may come out of this, is the Russians may finally come to the realization, you need to have a professional NCO corps if you're going to survive on a modern battlefield.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing,
the Spotify guy, Daniel Elk, investing $640 million in Ukrainian AI drone tech.
Yeah.
And the company will now mass produce drones for Ukraine's defense. And Ukraine reports now can build 4 million drones a year.
Well, the other thing is the cost of drones as well, because the US have been using drones for a long time, but their drones were costing millions and millions of dollars. They're really, really super high tech drones. They're gorgeous, but they don't want them shot down. But now you can make drones of thousands of dollars and be really effective
ones.
That's the difference. Is just how cheap you can use drones.
Yeah, I think militaries all over the place are seriously looking at this, and this is one of those moments it's got to be as transitional as World War I was, when all of a sudden you've got mechanization and the industrial revolution behind you and stuff. It's completely. Who would have thought that little flying drones was going to be, I'm used to what you see in the documentaries and so on, all the big stuff and there must be a total reset in the minds of militaries. And I wonder how long it's going to take before we see what the new thing is,
Yeah. And honestly, it shouldn't be, because a number of military science fiction writers have been predicting this kind of thing for at least a decade, if not longer.
Yeah. I have heard
Yeah,
that said.
well, they were predicting the drone swarm, just like thousands and thousands of tiny little drones that target one person and just take them out like a just a, a remote flying bullet, basically.
That was kind of the prediction that Ukraine is going to do to the Kremlin. There's going to be 1 million drones swarming around the Kremlin. And
Yeah.
Well, that'd be great.
After Spiderweb Op, you never know.
Right? Absolutely.
I think getting it down to, flying insect size isn't anything we're looking at in the future. But I think swarms of drones in terms of the kind that's flying right now, because that's the way you defeat enemy air defenses, is you send in masses of stuff and it overburdens the air defense system.
Yeah.
A bit like chaff.
Have you seen what China is doing with the drones? Like instead of fireworks show, they'll bring up like thousands on thousands of drones and do like this insane swarms and shapes, and that's some high tech shit.
That's where they got the idea for that Spider-Man movie, where they were faking stuff with drones, right? That's where they scored that idea from, for sure. But yeah, it's really, really, and when you look at that, like, that's the kind of precision that precision pilots and stuff would partake in, and so I mean, that remote, it's really impressive,
and then just put a shotgun cartridge on each and every one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's so frightening of China doing that, because it won't take much for them to just attach a weapon to them. And
and
Taiwan,
also,
here we come.
The first wave, 3/4 of the first wave could be barely even armed just to get them shooting, and then sneak the second wave in, or you know what I mean? However that works, like that must be part of the, keep it cheaper because you're going to lose some anyway.
Yeah, and just point out tonight's show has been sponsored by the Chinese Defense Secretary. So well done, Dick, for giving them ideas.
Yeah.
By the CCP.
Yeah. No, but I mean, controlling that many remotely in sequence and stuff, when you consider that you can just grab a few Adreno boards, I won't get too technical on y'all, and make yourself like a walking AT-AT that you can sit on and ride. I don't think this is actually that difficult for the right technically minded people.
Exactly.
Well, the fact is, a lot of this stuff is just bought off the shelf. You're saying Arduino and stuff like that, but quite frankly, it's just all off the shelf. When once upon a time, this is like a technological dream for most people. Oh
yeah. We should do a shout out here. Niles G Knudsen there in the chat has gifted out another 10 memberships. So, I mean, what's that, 30 or 40 memberships today, Niles? Holy Niles, thank you so much. Huge. Second round of applause, just to make sure we get the point nailed home. Very cool indeed. We also had Paul Deberitz in the live chat there, gifting in a €104 donation to the Car for Ukraine summer campaign there. And it's a great quote. I live my life a quarter mile at a time. Very cool. Let me reset that wall one more time and just make sure we are caught up here.
It's not the years, it's the mileage.
I have a super chat from SSW Customs saying, can we have Vita from Think Ukraine as a guest?
Oh.
Vita.
Yeah. Definitely worth looking into and doing. I have a list of people I was supposed to start getting a hold of like a few weeks ago. And to be honest, I wasn't in a very social mood for a few weeks. I get a little, but we should have some guests coming up soon. I got a few people in mind, a few people planned, a couple of messages out as my little antisocial anxiety issues and stuff fade. So we'll see what happens, because we like having guests around here, of course, right? Very much so.
We have a question as well from CZ255. Are you aware the Budapest Memorandum was removed from the White House website earlier this week? Actually, it was last week, and we did have that on Ukraine updates yesterday, and we talked about it. And
the White House's stripping of information has gotten quite out of hand.
it's complete and utter revisionism of history and everything.
Yeah.
Why they're doing it is because this administration, the people that kind of did the Budapest Memorandum with Ukraine as well, they don't trust those people. It's the elites. It's everything. So, but at the same time, they're removing that so America doesn't have any responsibility at all to help Ukraine.
Exactly.
Other than world peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
No biggie.
So here, a little update. We're at €659 on this fundraiser. So thanks, everybody, because we're more than doubled now since the start of the show. So that's pretty damn cool. Well done. Well done. We'll do individual shout outs again as we wrap up at the end, but we got about 20 minutes here or so.
Well, yeah, I mean, as far as world peace is concerned, and when Trump is, plugging for the, Nobel Peace Prize, so yeah, he must be good at it.
Nominated.
One of his
he nominated himself.
Oh, if you're allowed to, he did. One of his bootlicks even suggested that they should just rename the prize the Trump Peace Prize.
Oh, yes, of course.
That's not a Nobel, then, you moron. That's just Trump giving out cheap painted gold watches.
But you can win it. You can win it for the small price of $1 million.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whoever buys the most of his meme coin can have a Trump Peace Prize.
Yeah.
Kind of like the gold cards. If you spend $5 million on it, you can move to the United States.
Yeah.
I wonder if anybody's bought one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Russian criminal, of course.
Yeah. I'll just be an immigrant, an illegal.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of Russians that live at Mar-a-Lago, but I hear they just stand in the corner and watch them. So I don't think they paid to be there.
Can you imagine ICE agents moving in on one of these people and they got the gold card and go, no, look, I got a gold card.
Yeah.
Multi-pass.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be funny to see one of those gold card holders hold it up on camera and still get arrested by ICE?
I'd pay good money for that.
Fucking right.
Also, White House recommends stopping funding for investigations into Russian crimes in Ukraine.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, well, let's face it. If you're not going to do anything about it, why bother looking into them? So,
I mean, well, they've been shutting down investigations on anybody, any crimes,
First it was on the children.
Connected with money.
It was on the children that Russia stole.
Oh, really?
They stopped that. Yeah. They stopped the aid on that. And then actually they were going to erase all the data, but then they left some time. So it could be the data could be transferred to, I think, somewhere in Europe. But yeah, this is next, the war crimes.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Hang on. Would that effectively put America under the classification of war crime if they delete investigation knowledge of a war crime?
It's aiding and abetting.
Yeah.
Is it? I mean,
I don't know.
Complicit. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, look, Commander's thinking about that one. Yeah, the cogs are turning.
Well, the issue is that the U.S. is not subscribed to the whole idea of the International Court.
Oh, they pulled right out of that whole thing, didn't they? Now.
Yeah.
It's not the first time Trump's pulled out.
There have been plenty of senior U.S. politicians that arguably could be brought up on charges of war crimes. But which is why nobody in this country at the highest levels wants to subscribe to this thing because they're afraid that they will be the ones that get sent to the court.
Right.
So if you don't
We don't
subscribe
want
to
to
it, you can't
surrender any
be
American
accountable.
sovereignty here.
Unbelievable.
By the way,
Oh.
this past week at The Hague, speaking of ICC, I think it's a court that runs right up there with ICC, but they will start charging top high-level Russian officials, and calling them war criminals. And even though it's symbolic, they're going to prosecute them, and it's going to be more symbolic. It's going to create more problems for these war criminals to do any business and outside of Russia or anywhere. So
Yeah.
it's a great, big, huge step.
Yeah, anything that makes their life difficult is good step.
I mean, they have houses in Cannes and Europe and Italy,
yeah.
And businesses and
You gotta hurt the oligarchy. It has to hit them, right? Otherwise, there's no real pressure on Putler and his gang. Because the oligarchy is the only ones that can give them anything, any kind of shtick at all, right?
Exactly. So if they get angry enough, some people say it's them who will kind of get rid of Putin, if anything.
Yeah, you're affecting my international business, and it's actually affecting my money now in a big way. That kind of shit matters to the ultra wealthy, you know?
Oh, okay. I've got an idea forming inside my head now. This is a good one.
Yeah,
not as shit as the others.
Did you mute?
Yeah, I can hear.
Oh, sorry. I was talking. Oh, yeah, no, I've got a brilliant plan forming in my head. This is much better than all the other shit ones I've done before. Now, you know they cloned Biden and turned into a cyborg as well. Apparently, what we do is we clone Bernie Sanders, and then we basically make thousands of Bernie Sanders, and we parachute them in across the world, aiming at all the oligarchs, and they all just start doing marches for against the oligarchs.
Is he explosive when he lands? Oh, I get it. Okay, I wasn't sure how you were doing this.
I don't know about this.
Yeah. It'll just go and annoy people like a gnat all around the world. Yeah, bring down the oligarchs.
Oh, it's funny.
I mean, you could put explosive shoes on him if you want. But, I don't know, it'd be quite as effective though, Dick.
Yeah, well,
that's your plan B.
Yeah, well, I just wasn't sure where you were going, right? That whole clone.
You just can't get a good bagel here in Moscow.
I still don't understand that whole clone robot, because by their very nature, a clone and a robot are two very distinct, different things. Why does a clone have bionic parts? Or I don't understand.
No idea.
More to the point, if you build a robot of a clone, theoretically, it should be exactly the same as the original.
Yeah,
and it's still 92 years old and stumbles up the stairs. Well done.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you not clone them and then but just stop the cloning process at a younger age, 50 or something?
Yeah, I mean, for the love of God, my speak and spell could speak faster, right? Come on.
It spells better than you.
You're not wrong there. Oh, okay.
In fact, we should bring it on as a guest.
You could, I mean, these days you could build some pretty cool breadboards, put one of those chips on and have your own little interface. You could tie it into ChatGPT that's doing a live transcript of your show or something. And you could have some real fun. Be interesting. Yeah, I know it gets geeky around here. I try to avoid that.
It sounds like too much like hard work.
Yeah. Well, we'd have to contact PCB Way.
That's sponsored tonight.
Oh, not quite. Let me just double check to see what's going on here. So turns out in the live chat, we've got Grunge Thing gifting out 10 memberships as well. Huge thanks, Grunge Thing. All right. Gifted memberships make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
You pervert.
I was almost going to do a line from Garth, the Wayne's World movie there, but the warm and fuzzy, that comes from a different movie, I think. It's just similar. I don't even remember. My brain is mush today. Yeah, I didn't get enough sleep. Kind of fighting it. So let me just look here because we have Karen H in the chat through a direct Ko-Fi donation in. Car for Ukraine, Slavie, Ukraine. Herom Slava. Well done, Karen. Thank you. Thank you. I'll get that sent over as soon as we're done here. And then I do believe that there's a direct donation in through PayPal that didn't go through Ko-Fi or anything, Ko-Fi, whatever the hell it's called. But I've logged in. I can't really sort it out. I know there was UTV and Ham, and there was SSW Custom Sewing, and I just got this feeling because there's this weird email that has no real data on it, but payment received. So I'll try again before we're done and see if I can get it to reload and actually tell me. All right. Announcement as well before we continue on. Tomorrow, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, which is 10 p.m. Ukraine local time. I'm joining Rick on his stream. Right.
Well, get that bloody painting sold.
Yeah, I'm gonna get him to do up the auction and whatnot in the after chat after we've hung out for a bit.
It's been so long. It's been so long since I painted that portrait of Starsky that I've painted the rest of the entire Ukrainian army.
Are you kidding?
It's got a lot of auctions coming up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but that's going to start like at any time here. The donations seem to have gone up. On the direct to the Car for Ukraine fundy as well here. So let me just look this over. We've got Mitch Ashdown in with an $81 direct donation, and then we got Joe M with €100 direct donation as well. Look at that action. And if I scroll all the way up, sorry if that just made you ill, it almost got me, we're at €750 on this so far today. So you never know, we might even get it to $1,000 by the end of the stream. It looks like it's going pretty good. Let's see what we can do here. News-wise, we didn't cover everything yet, have we? We've still got some in the bank.
No, but we do have a question from Ohms. He's asking, are Ukrainian children in Belarus safer than children kidnapped in Russia? No, as long as they're in Russian hands, of course not. They're not safer.
Yeah, and Belarus might as well be in Russian hands. I mean...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, the simple fact of the matter is they shouldn't be anywhere apart from with their parents.
Exactly.
Or family.
Yeah.
Whatever's left of them.
To do something like that in war shows that, it's not just one country wanting the other's resources and your typical sort of war things from over time. It's not about Helen or something. This is some seriously evil personal stuff.
Well, there's a lot of shitty tactics being used. The Russians sending invites to people to come to Russia, giving them full immigration status, and then shoving them out into the borders of Poland, and then send them off to the UK and all this. So they're trying to collapse, the integrity of countries from the inside by sending illegal immigrants to them.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
I
it's just
watched
shitty tactics.
an interview with a Chinese national. He was saying that story as well. He got sent to the front line. He just wanted to do logistics. That's why he went to Russia. Then he got sent to the front lines in Ukraine. And he's like, I don't want to go or anything. Then they took away his passport, his papers, anything, and then made him a nobody and just sent him as cannon fodder. And then he surrendered to Ukraine because he was like, we had no food, no water for 2 weeks. Complete and utter like cannon fodder.
Mhm.
No weapons, obviously.
Yeah.
But what they're doing to Ukrainian children, kidnapped Ukrainian children, they're also sending them, turning them into kind of propaganda machines, into war machines, and sending some of them to the front lines as well to fight against their own country.
No. Oh my God.
Wow,
And
exactly.
This exact war crime is what Putin is wanted by the ICC. That's what he got prosecuted with, is the kidnapped children.
It's such an awful topic to even have to talk. Like yeah. You see this whole thing with YouTube. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. This whole thing with the names today is really getting screwed up. I just learned another one. All right. Oh man, YouTube, don't make me think even more than I have to. Where is that other one? Sorry, everybody. Oh, if you didn't see it, I just want to play this again. This is the video from one of the groups that is asking for and receiving trucks through the Car for Ukraine fundraiser. We played this earlier for you. Let's just play it again. It's 35 seconds. Here you go.
We are the members of 6th Special Operations Detachment of Defense Intelligence of Ukraine, currently conducting special operations at land and sea. We require vans and pickup trucks to conduct logistics and evacuate casualties. We are asking communities of YouTube channels, the Silicon Curtain and the Shills, and other YouTubers and the people with their medias to help us with the fundraiser, as well as the organization Car for Ukraine to deliver it. Нет, треба заново.
I love that part.
Yeah. Ah, shit, I messed that up. Redo it. Yeah.
Should have got the dog to do the video.
Yeah. Dude's just got the little puppy sitting there, you know. Everybody
I'm trying to figure out the insect that they have in the background, or monkey. I mean, it's obviously not a monkey. There's no monkeys in Ukraine. But do you guys hear that?
Yeah. You know, it sounds like a man-eating grasshopper or cricket, you know.
A Russian eating grasshopper.
There you
Yeah, I
go.
was going to say, the monkeys have been sent in by the Russian Federation.
Spies. Yeah. They tested highest on intelligence in the testing.
They ran out of North Korean soldiers, sending the monkeys.
Well, by the way, speaking of Norks, North Korea may deploy troops to Ukraine, and this is coming from more. South Korean intel said that 6,000 elite North Korean troops could deploy in July. And Ukraine's defense minister confirmed this to prior losses among these North Korean units. And this just reinforces Russia's desperation, outsourcing the war. And when Russia runs out of men, it imports dictators, soldiers, basically. So
now, does elite mean they actually come with a gun?
That's it.
It's a good question. Commander McMillan?
I was going to say, yeah, it means they've actually shot one before.
There's some interesting YouTube videos of interviews with former North Korean defectors. and it's amazing. They see videos of American military training, and they're just stunned. You're allowed to shoot that much ammunition at one training session? We got to shoot 5 rounds in a whole year.
Wow.
And that was a special forces unit.
Wow.
They have to go out on the shooting range and just go bang.
Yeah.
Bangity, bangity, bangity.
Yeah, yeah. Normally they're equipped with Nerf guns, but today they get live rounds.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. First, last name is all their gear from Temu. Yeah, the total Temu army, probably sponsored and all.
Yeah, it turned up in camouflage, it's all pink or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not what I ordered.
Yeah. Leftover bath mats or something, Yeah. Helmets are like, for kids riding their bicycles.
Yeah. Little plastic ones, yeah.
Okay, well, looking at the time here, we got 6 minutes until I got to make sure I'm wrapped up and stuff. So we should probably get ourselves into wrap-up mode, make sure we got all our shout-outs done and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Go on then.
Well,
do it then. Do it then, Dick.
Well,
Sorry.
I'm just looking, and I think we're caught up because I still can't get that one that came in to give me any information. So let me reload the page for the Car for Ukraine's donation page. And yep, looks like we're at 759 euros. Now, you might have donated in the last couple of minutes. And as I scroll down here, you might not see your name, but sometimes this site takes like 20, 30 minutes to update. So right now, we're still at Joe M as the newest contributor. But Joe M, Mitch Ashdown, Paul Deberitz there, Nikki Hill, Jean-Marc Ladaker, Egan Kelt, Kaltenberg, and somebody with a anonymous donation there. That was all today. And then we got another anonymous one, Spider Fate Fella, Susan Berry, Mitch Ashdown, another anonymous one. Oh, Emus, Watch the Shills, and Andrew Gordon. So that looks to be our donor wall at the moment. So thanks, everybody, because this is going pretty well. I think I just got ill again. I got to stop scrolling it that fast.
Sometimes I'm not entirely convinced that the internet is purely digital. I think there's some kind of analog system going on in the background.
Yeah, you gotta wait for the capacitors to recharge before it updates. So, what do you think, Slavie? Should we kick it into goodbyes mode?
Yeah, absolutely. Dunk, any final thoughts you have?
Yes. Well, no, not really. I mean, just the whole shittery of it all. I just want it all to end as we all do. It will all be over by Christmas, so they said. Yeah, fuck that. Yeah, I don't know. Just keep going, Ukraine. We love you. We stand beside you. Well, no, I don't. I'm over here in Dagobah. But if I was nearer, yeah, I'd be standing beside you. And yeah, please keep supporting and keep doing all. Everybody who supports Ukraine, keep doing what you do, because these people need it. They are the front line against the rest of Europe at the minute, and we know it. Wish we just gave them a lot more support. Yeah, the government's exactly stuff like that. But yeah, until next time. Yeah, kiss me goodnight, Commander Macmillan. My little wooden bed. Yeah. So until next time, everybody, Slava Ukraine.
Slava.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to hear kind of world news, the 42 show that Dunk and Dick do is pretty amazing. So make sure you guys check that out as well.
Oh, thank you very much.
At the 42 show on YouTube. And as you can see in the live chat, YouTube's all about the @ right now.
Yeah. And that's the first shout out we've had from somebody we didn't have to pay.
Commander Macmillan, do you have any final thoughts?
Two things. One, there have been some questions I've seen coming up in the chat stream about when will Ukraine launch its summer offensive, and I would not be holding my breath on that. Right now, Ukraine's kind of in reaction mode because the Russians are mounting their summer offensive, and it's a broad front strategy, so they're pushing all along the line. So I think what we're likely to see is more counterattacks by the Ukrainian army that will push back any penetrations the Russian forces might make. So that answers that question. Secondly, as I do every week when we conclude here, please correspond with your elected officials. Tell them Ukraine is important to you, and tell them that you want, more aid to be flowing to Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Write, email, text, phone calls, whatever. It all adds into the impact that is made on the person, even if they're from the other party, which wouldn't necessarily want to be doing that. It's still something that makes an impact. So please do.
Good shout.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Commander McMillan. Massive thanks to our mod team on both channels, our panel, and you guys watching and commenting and fighting narratives with the truth and keeping Ukraine in the conversation right alongside us. And if you're new here on both channels, please hit that subscribe, like, share, and ring the bell so you don't miss any live streams. In our new time, 2 p.m., by the way. This is more than a live stream. This is a frontline in the war on truth. So support the stream, and thank you to the ones that have been supporting it, and keep voices like ours online, because the algorithm won't do it for us. So we're up against billion-dollar propaganda machines, and we're still here, still fighting, still telling the truth, because supporting Ukraine isn't charity, it's strategy, it's survival. It's a stand for the world we want, and the one we refuse to surrender to. So on that note, God bless America, and Slava Ukraini. And over to you, Dick.
Great shout. Great shout. Let's give a shout out to Annette, PJC Net, Chris Lundy, Mexi Girl, Liam Wakefield, AI Alchemist, and Super Chat Matt in our live chat as moderators. And you've got a couple as well over there, right, Slavie?
Yes. SSW Custom Sewing and Tim Moments. You guys are rock stars.
Awesome. And we've got a late shout out here with Garth McHale, I do believe it is. And it's keep it moving forward. And I think that's a pretty good place to put it to you right now. Your support matters like more than you could ever know. Every little bit we do seriously helps in the fight. And if you're like many who can't truly financially contribute like you would want to, or even at all, social street credibility, share the streams out, share the videos out, and keep Ukraine in the public conscious, because everything we can do helps. Slava Ukraine, everybody.
Heroям slava.
Slava Ukraine.
We will see you soon.
It's over. Go home. Go.